Hello, everybody, and welcome. It is episode 44 of Coffee Talk. My name is Trevor Huth, and of course, Nate Kosher is here with me. I say, of course, you weren't here last week, so Nate Kosher is back with me this week for episode 44 of Coffee Talk. Nate, welcome back.
Thank you. Yeah, I've missed one each of the last 2 months, um, and ended up doing something baseball related on these trips, but now I should be back for the foreseeable future. So I toured Petco Park and
Nice.
beautiful ballpark. I have a
Padres weren't playing,
factoid.
though.
No game. Have you been there before, Trevor?
I have not.
Okay, I know you like the factoids. So Petco Park built in 2004. Tour guide said only 4 rainouts in the stadium's history.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's
and
impressive.
that can happen in the Midwest in 1 week in April.
Yeah, absolutely. Was Petco where I just remember there being a bunch of like bugs, like a bug delay or something like that. Was that Petco Park? Do you remember what I'm talking about?
I remember the bug delay. I can't remember if it
This
was
is
the
what the internet's for.
Dodgers or Padres. But yeah, it's a beautiful ballpark. Add it to the list. They have a little Hall of Fame. Saw Tony Gwynn statue. And the press box is also open air. There's no glass or anything because the weather is so perfect there, which was cool. But I'm back now.
But he's back now.
I am back.
Uh, I think it was in Cleveland, if my quick Google
Cleveland. Oh,
search. Yeah.
okay.
So not Petco, not close. I was
No.
not remotely,
Okay.
I'm not even in the right part of the country. So that's a good start for the podcast. So anyway, we have some baseball to talk about now that you're back. And first of all, what's brewing? Well, injuries are brewing. Oh my God. It's been brutal. It's been brutal out here.
It has been.
I mean, feel
I,
worse for the players, right? This is their career, but fantasy managers trying to do a fantasy lounge, it's been brutal.
yeah. Every year this seems to happen. Last year it was all the Tommy Johns and pitchers. Um, and I don't know if it's just because we're paying attention more and we have all the information at our fingertips and we hear stuff, immediately breaking news on the internet and Twitter and whatnot. But yeah, it's not good. I saw today Justin Steele out for the season, and I have him. He's one of my top pitchers on one of my teams, so that's not good. Not good at all.
One of a few. I mean, there's been a lot of injuries. We're not going to talk about all the injuries, but I mean, other injuries off the top of my head. Ben Joyce just, he's going to be out for a while, and a few other ones. I was looking into Ben Joyce. I have Ben Joyce on a few teams, so that's why he sticks out. But there's just been a lot of injuries. But Justin Steele out, as you mentioned, uh, could be a few options for the Cubs. I think you're looking more at Colin Ray or Ben Brown. There's a lot of names there, so I would monitor that situation.
Yeah, I saw Jordan Wicks as a possibility. I also saw Chris Flexen. Flexen, do you remember him
I do.
from the Mariners? I don't know if he's. I should have looked this up. I don't know if he's on the Cubs. Yes, he is already on the Cubs. I wasn't sure if they were saying they're going to pick him up as a free agent, but I saw him as a potential fill-in. Obviously, he's been a starter before. Um, but yeah,
So right now, roster resource has Imanaga, Matthew Boyd, Ben Brown, Colin Ray, Jameson Tyone. You have Javier Assad, who should be coming back maybe soon ish. Um, and then, we mentioned some of the pitchers. Jordan Wicks, Kate Horton, maybe at some point. You said Chris Flexen. Jordan Wicks is on the 40 man. That's the one differentiator between him and Kate Horton and Chris Flexen or anybody else who they might want to call up.
yeah, interesting. Another one, not a long-term injury probably, but potentially troublesome. Someone that I'm not sure if we talked about him, but had gotten off to a okay start and looked promising. Richard Fitz.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see he was on the injured list? MRI came back okay, but pectoral strain, which obviously
He
that
was
could be an issue.
chucking in that game too. I mean, I think he was
Yeah,
5 scoreless with 5 strikeouts and before he exited.
he was looking good, and I think kind of emerging as a sleeper or someone people are about to know more about. So hopefully he is back and is fine. But
Since we're on the injury train, let's keep talking. Trevor Megill looks like he might be out for a while. He got MRIs on his knee. So there's nothing official that I've seen yet, but I mean, it doesn't look great. He had a really bad outing his last time out. So they're going to be looking for something else in Milwaukee. You're probably looking at maybe Abner Uribe. Craig Yoho may get called up. He's in AAA. We'll see what happens. That could be fun. Yoho, Yoho.
yeah, yeah, that will be interesting because I think they also think highly of Uribe, but obviously some potential control issues there, but can throw the heat. Closers
Really
are
good
just so hard
fastball.
to figure out.
Hmm.
Closers and relievers. I
They
can't ever
are.
figure it out.
We're going to talk relievers a lot later because we have the defend yourself. There's been lots of trades. I traded only for relievers at this point, and so I'm going to have to defend myself. And Nate just followed what I did, but we'll get into that.
I lost you there for a second, Trevor. Were you talking Strider?
Uh, I was talking Woodruff. Woodruff on the road to
Oh,
rehab, hasn't pitched
Woodruff.
since 2023.
Yes, yeah. Speaking of the Brewers, he at one point the Brewers had this rotation that looked like it was just going to be amazing, and how it usually happens, it doesn't totally fulfill itself based on what you first see. Um, but Woodruff, someone lifetime 3.10 ERA. He is 32 years old, and I think still a lot left in the tank, obviously. So if for some reason he's floating around, I would snatch him up right away. I would think he is not going to be floating around, but you would need to add him. I mean, I would add him now. I don't have to see what he's going to do. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because of his history, he's that good.
Yeah, and I'm not going to add anything to Woodruff, but in the his first rehab outing, which he looked pretty good, Ernesto Martinez Jr., first baseman, hit a ridiculous looking home run that you should look on the Nashville Sounds page for. I shared it in the Pitcher List Prospects and Dynasty channel, but he should not have been able to hit it for a home run, and he hit it for a home run. So I am kind of interested, and he might force his hand somehow to get in that infield. Just a fun little name to keep in mind, Ernesto Martinez Jr.
I will look that up.
Hit a
Haven't
pretty
seen that.
impressive tank. Yeah, I will send it to Nate and maybe get a live reaction as we like to do sometimes. Um, but you did mention Strider. Strider on his way back as well, Nate.
Yeah, Strider. So one of two excellent Spencer S's on the Braves, right? But we all the hype with Skeens, all the other young arms we've talked about, Crochet. Need we forget Spencer Strider and how good he was 2 seasons ago, right? So um, I saw he was I think 2 miles per hour still. His fastball was below what had been at its peak in 2023. But I mean, it's still great news that he's coming back, and he still struck out 13 people in, I have it here, 5 1/3 innings. So was still dominant. And he's supposed to be lined up, I think, this week to start,
To debut, absolutely. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So he's looking really good. The rehab outings are going fine, and it's going to be Spencer S domination in Atlanta for hopefully for a while. That's really fun to have Swellenbach and Strider in your rotation because both are phenomenal.
And we didn't mention before, the Braves really need him back because Reynaldo Lopez is
Hmm.
out. He had shoulder surgery, so another arm, solid last year, hurt this year. So they really need Strider to come back.
Ronaldo Lopez. Speaking of former White Sox, Garrett Crochet, Ace is going to ace and all. He's been great. Just got his extension, and he just had a legitimate no-hit bid against his old team that was broken up by Chase Meadroth, who we'll talk about. But a great outing for him against his old team.
Yeah, I don't think the season could be going better for him. Huge contract extension, so the Red Sox you know, they were motivated to make that trade. They didn't need to see too much more of Crochet. They're just going to lock him up. He's the ace. And then to almost hit a no hit the team the team he was frustrated with
Hmm.
last year. And it probably felt pretty good. But man, he's the man.
Crochet, not exactly a coffee talk guy, but just fun to
No,
talk about.
no,
But
just some
okay,
news.
the other side of that, Chase Meadroth got his promotion on day two, game two. He broke up that no hitter with Crochet. Game one, he walked 3 times. Uh, Chase Meadroth might be someone that you need to look into if he's not already on someone else's team.
Yeah, the thing about so in my league, he is probably already on a team, but we've
Hmm.
had a shortage of second basemen in my 30 team super deep league. Like, I think there's just been a few second baseman injuries. The pool is just kind of short, and so people have just been trying to get any second baseman that can start. Oh, Cattell Marte is out. Didn't mention that either from my D-backs. So if Meadroth is available and you need someone, I would snatch him up. He could fill in at short or second base. I'm not sure what his available or his position is depending on your league, but I'd keep an eye on him for sure.
Really good hit tool, really good zone control, and that's what leads the profile. He's not supposed to have a ton of power. He showed a little bit more power in the minors, which makes people think maybe there's more in there than originally thought. But dude can hit the ball, and that's kind of where he adds value to your team. And like he showed in his debut, walking 3 times, he might be helpful, especially if you're in an OBP league. So I think Meadroth is definitely a guy to look into if you are in need of middle infield help or if you just need a player. I think he's somebody to look into. I'm pretty hyped up on him.
Yeah, and you successfully called that. I think early before the season we were looking at late round draft picks, and that was someone you had dialed in on. So
I unsuccessfully tried to trade for him in my 30 team keeper league. So I don't have him, and now he's helping somebody else's team. So yeah, I was in on it and tried to walk the walk, but didn't quite work out. Anyway, Nate, I want to dive into your area of expertise here.
yes,
So in one league I have Yanir Diaz. In other leagues, I might have one of the Contreras brothers. I feel like there are a lot of high end catchers that you would have invested high draft picks in who are not performing well. And that is very frustrating. So you are the catcher, man. You're the catcher guy, right?
yes.
We're going to nickname you Nate Catcher, Nate
All
Catcher
right.
Kosher.
That's pretty good.
What? Thank you. What do you think we should do if we are like we can't drop these guys, right? They are top end catchers, but they're not hitting well right now. So are you seeking other options? Are you sit and wait? Like what is your thoughts with this catcher market the way it is right now?
Yeah, so thank you for bringing this up, Trevor, and I will selfishly plug my Substack, Runs Produced. What I've sort of done so far is done a weekly column with just catcher news and notes and then a waiver wire pick of the week. And so you're right. Some of the top guys, um, you mentioned Diaz, and Contreras. Now I don't know which Contreras brother you have, but
Doesn't matter. They both have struggled.
yeah, William Contreras I think he was kind of the consensus number one catcher. He came out of the gates really slow. Now he's starting to show a little signs of life at this point, and he's put together hits like a 5 game hit streak, I think. So not worried about him. He's starting to wake up. Now Diaz is someone that's interesting because he is still pretty young in his career as compared to some of the other guys, Contreras, other top catchers like Salvador Perez, guys that have proven themselves. So I would be more worried about Diaz than either of the Contreras brothers or, like I said, Salvador Perez, um, Adley Rushman. They've all sort of proven themselves more. So among that group, I would say if I wouldn't drop anyone yet, but if I were to make a move, potentially, I think I'd be thinking about Diaz.
Awesome. He's my catcher, my
Now,
30-team keeper.
now don't do it just yet, Trevor. But I have some names. I have some names for you. So
All right.
the first you probably already know with the Tigers, Jake Rogers gets hurt. Dylan Dingler filling in should get the majority now share of the starts. Has shown a little bit this season. Had some great minor league seasons. Did really well in AAA. You know a lot about him. The key with him is his playing time. Like I said, he's going to get the majority of the starts, and he'll have the opportunity and the chance.
Mhm.
Someone else that's been doing good that I wouldn't rush to pick up, but maybe in a two catcher league, if you're playing in a two catcher league, Carson Kelly. Now he's not that exciting,
Another
but
former Tiger.
oh yeah, that's right, and former D-back too. He was on the
And
D-backs.
former Cardinal, if we're just going to go through his history.
Go back to his little league
Former
days.
Ranger.
um, he's been really hot coming out of the gates, and I've seen people talking about him. I've sort of have him on the radar, but I would not pick him up unless you're in a two catcher league. Um, here's someone else that was doing good, but now is also hurt.
Herrera.
Herrera. Thank you. Yep. That's what I was gonna say. Ivan Herrera on the Cardinals. He was hot. He had a 3 home run game. He already had double digit RBIs. He's hurt now, so that kind of killed that momentum. But then someone else, middle of the pack, who's having a nice year, who this could be potentially be a move for you, Keibert Ruiz. So on the Nationals, a couple of years ago, did pretty well. In 2023, he had I wrote about him recently. He had, I think, like 18 to 20 home runs, 50 to 60 ribbies. And then last year, his numbers dropped across the board. But he's someone that, for a catcher, he's not going to kill you with strikeouts. He gets on base at a decent clip. Once again, among catchers, this is. I'm not saying among all hitters that he's amazing, but if he can hit in the 250, 260 range, he's not going to hurt you with strikeouts if you're in the league with average or that strikeouts count against you. Also, will provide some power. And I just looked at him on Yahoo. He's 60% owned. He's hitting 373, 2 home runs, and 10 RBIs. So, point with Ruiz, if you're thinking about getting rid of Diaz, I think he has probably a lot of value still. And you can move to someone like Ruiz and maybe add another piece. I wouldn't drop Diaz just straight up for one of those other names I was talking about. But there are
So,
some possibilities out there. That's kind of my recap of catchers
yes.
first couple weeks.
And if you're in redraft leagues, the 12, 14 teams, whatever, those are very good options. On the free agent market currently in this league where I have Diaz,
Yeah, I'd
Austin
like to hear
wins.
this.
Austin wins? Anyway, wins. Austin Hedges, Jose Herrera, Eric Haase, Christian Vasquez, Gary Sanchez, Sam Huff. So it's not great, is my
No,
point.
that is not great.
It's mostly backups, and you're just searching through. So I'm kind of either I have to trade him away and get another catcher. I got to sit on him. I'm obviously just going to sit on him and wait. So we are going to take a timeout here in a second, but first we're going to do Stump Nate with trivia. There are, as of right now, at time of recording, which is Monday, before a lot of games would have started today. There are 6 players tied for the MLB lead in home runs, and they have 6. That's the number.
Okay.
There are the obvious ones: Aaron Judge, Kyle Schwarber. Mike Trout is among this group. Tyler Soderstrom is among this group. We've talked about Soderstrom.
Yeah.
There's 2 left. I'm going to give you one more. Wilmer Flores is in this group.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Now, Nate, here's my question to you, because this is perhaps my favorite stat of the year thus far. Name that missing player.
Oh, you know what? I think I know who it is,
I'm
and
sure you do. It's
I
crazy.
did not cheat. Is it Tommy Edman?
It's Tommy Edman.
Yeah.
For what?
That is insane. I read that.
I'm pretty sure his career high in home runs is 12, and he has 6 already
Y
this year. That is
Yeah.
insane.
He doesn't belong on the list with the rest of those. Most of those names are obvious, but not
For
his.
what? All right. Well, that was fun. Or not as fun. I'll come up with another one to stump you a little bit later. But right now, we are going to take a quick time out here. Appreciate you guys joining us. This is episode 44 of Coffee Talk, part of the Pitcherless Podcast Network. And welcome back to Coffee Talk on the Pitcher List Podcast Network. My name is Trevor Huth. Nate Kosher joining me. We've been talking to some players who have been hurt, players who are healthy, players who are struggling, players to look out for. We're just talking players today. That's kind of the whole vibe we got going in Coffee Talk. And you know what? We're going to talk about a timely player, one who I just spent $40 of fab on. That's 40 of my 200. And that is Ben Williamson with the Mariners, third baseman, just got called up, has not debuted yet as of this episode. Mariners don't play on this Monday, so he'll debut some other time. But he did just get called up. I need a third baseman. I'm hoping that he's better than Nick Maton is where I'm at because this is my 30-team league where that's Nick Maton's a viable third base option.
That was
So
gonna be my question. Yeah, who did you have
um,
there? Going over his stats, saying
mhm.
good on defense. That gives him a high floor. You're not probably looking for a ton of power. I'm guessing you added him just for some help with contact. He doesn't strike out as much, et cetera, et cetera.
Contact, maybe a couple steals. I mean, I don't expect him to be a superstar by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm hoping for a guy who's going to hit over one, whatever Nick Maton is hitting. Um, help me stabilize some average. I have Pete Alonso and Spencer. I have so just getting a little bit more stabilization in average would be good. And obviously, in a league like this, if you can get a young guy who should get some run,
Yep.
that's pretty good, and he should get a solid chance with the Mariners because of all of their injuries. So they just put Ryan Bliss on the IL, and that opens up a spot where Miles Mastroboni might Roster Resource has him playing second and Williamson playing third. So he should have a really good opportunity.
Yeah, and the Mariners have they're an interesting team because they haven't been they're like I feel like the last few years they're kind of been stuck in the middle. They haven't been terrible, they haven't been great, but then injuries out of the gate could swing things the other direction, I could see for them. So more younger players might be getting chances as the season progresses.
Yeah, and we'll just have to see what happens. I mean, I know I liked Ryan Bliss. It's terrible to see him go down for so long. Um, but they do have young guys, like you mentioned, and hopefully Williamson turns out to be something. You never know till he gets that chance. They definitely at some point have Cole Young rather, who they can call up, and
Hmm.
he's their second baseman of the future, but he hasn't been hitting great, so they don't want to rush him. But they do have some young guys. Speaking of players that I would like to give myself an early pat on the back on and watch that go away as the season goes on. Hayden Wesneski, he has been good. I mean,
Yeah, he has
he's been
been.
pretty good.
Yeah,
I am super excited that he's turning out like I thought he would. I mean, he's got a K per nine above 10. His walk per nine's at 1.5, and through 18 innings, his ERA is 4. Like he's showing signs that he wasn't showing before, and he's made tangible changes. And it looks like the Astros may have found something in Wisniewski.
yeah. Today we recorded Monday, so yesterday on Sunday he hit 10 strikeouts,
Mm-hmm.
picked up the win over the Angels, 3 runs on 5 hits, 6 innings, so quality start. And that is kind of the discussion we had. You liked what you had seen with Wesneski in the past. He started a little bit, I think, for the Cubs, then was in relief, but you wanted to see what the Astros could do. And it's almost exactly what we described, like the best case scenario for him.
Mm-hmm. They
That
found,
they they
yeah.
pulled it out of him, and it seems like it's going well.
Yeah, and like my entire argument was look at what they did with Yusei Kikuchi
Yep.
and extend that out over a season with Wisniewski, who arguably has better stuff than Kikuchi. I don't know how good that
Yeah.
argument is, but I liked
Seems like it.
a
That's
little
what
bit
I
as a
would think.
prospect. He had a really good sweeper. He had something there already, and look what the Astros did with one pitcher to turn him around. Theoretically, hopefully they trade for Wisniewski because they have an idea of what to do to turn around. And it's been 18 innings, so obviously I can't actually take my victory lap that I keep wanting to take.
I was going to say he would be considered someone who's a priority ad. We've thrown a few names around. Would you consider Wisniewski someone to prioritize picking up if available?
I think so.
Yeah,
And maybe even just as a streamer, but he's not somebody who I would want to wait out to until he gets a good matchup. Like I would hold him and maybe not if you don't feel comfortable with him. If he's a guy who you can hold on your bench and stream against the good players, I feel like somebody's going to want to pick him up eventually, especially if you're looking at a guy who has the ratio of, a 10K per nine versus 1.5 walk per nine. His 4 ERA is not going to worry you that much when you're getting a good ratio like that, especially out of a guy who you're not picking up to be your dude. You're
right.
picking him to be your help.
Yeah, yeah, that's what you're looking out of him. And at the end of the season, it could be one of those people that was available. Maybe you missed out, and it could hurt when you look back at the end of the year, like, I should just picked him up. But yeah, good call there, Trevor.
So somebody else who I know you want to talk about was Kyron Paris. I don't know. Honestly, I don't have a whole lot on him. I know he's been really good lately.
Yes. So I had a couple of guys that have been hot in addition to the people we've talked about. So Kyron Paris is one of them. Um, Someone that was called up and I think has already exceeded expectations. Did not expect this out of him so far. So he is, listen to this slash line. He's hitting 368, 467, 842. He's leading, as of today, all major leagues in slugging percentage. 5 home runs, 8 RBI, 5 steals. Already put together 1.5 WAR in 14 games. So these stats
Seems pretty good.
are, yeah, insane. And last year he only hit 118 in about, let's see, 21 games. 2023 he also had a cup of coffee, only hit 100. And the strikeouts would be considered an issue. So looking more into this, I dug into some of his stats. His hard hit percentage, top 2% of all MLB. His K percentage is down almost 7 points from last season. So last year he was 28.8. This year it's 21.7. And so barrels are up, like everything is up across the board. However, I do not think that this is sustainable. So if you had picked up Kyron Paris, I would think about selling high before this comes back down to earth. I think probably the strikeouts are going to catch up to him. Now, he does have a nice combo of speed and power, but if you're trying to think of your whole entire roster and you need to upgrade somewhere, I think if you traded him right now, you could get quite a bit back, because he's been everywhere on fire, like I said, but I don't think he's going to maintain this.
Question is this a Reese Hines-esque run, or are these legitimate changes that won't hold up at this level, but will hold up in some way over the course of the year? And I just don't know
Exactly.
that.
Yeah. But like when he got called up, I remember thinking like, oh, I've heard his name before. It's interesting, but didn't expect this tear at all.
Mm-hmm.
He has tinkered. I was reading he has tinkered with his swing, but still, I would say those strikeouts worry me. So if you have him, I would sell high. There's another person though, Trevor, I'm more excited about than him,
Okay.
and that is Ben Rice.
Yeah, Ben Rice is good.
Ben Rice has been also on fire.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if you look at his stats across the board, you know, top of the percentile for everything in MLB, um, top 2% exit velocity, top 5% max EV. His hard hit percentage right now is 66.7%, which I know these numbers, it's too early to make any, huge declarations. But a respectable walk rate, 16.1%, and then his strikeout percentage, 25%. Last year was 27%. So not as big of differences, but I think what he's doing is actually sustainable. He had been a catcher. The Yankees have played him at DH and first base, and he's even let off. So it's kind of interesting to see them tweaking how they're going to fit him into the lineup. But I think he's the one to target. He's the one to pick up
Oh
out
yeah.
of those two.
If he's available, jump at it. Run, don't
Yes,
walk.
exactly.
Run, don't walk if Ben Rice is available.
I would pick him up immediately, even throwing aside if he's just going to DH or catch, or if he still has catcher availability or position availability in your league, that's an even bigger boost. But I'm more excited about him long term. Paris, I would try to sell high on.
Absolutely. All right, more trivia time, Nate.
All right.
We did home runs. This time we're going to do triples. There are 4 players
Ooh,
tied
triples.
MLB
Okay.
lead in triples. They have 2. Now, I'm not going to give you any names this time. I want to see if you can name one or how many you think you might be able to name.
You said there's 4 people.
There's 4 players who have 2 triples,
Who have
which is
2.
the MLB lead at this moment.
Is Corbin Carroll one of them?
Corbin Carroll is not one of them.
Shoot. Okay.
There is a Diamondback at the top, though.
Oh, interesting.
One who we probably should talk about, honestly. He's not on our list, but we should talk about him anyway. We'll get there.
Oh, is it Perdomo?
It's not Perdomo.
McCarthy.
It's not McCarthy. McCarthy has like 2 hits total.
I know. I thought maybe his 2 hits were triples.
It's McCarthy's platoon partner, not even platoon, timeshare partner.
Alec Thomas.
Alec Thomas, yeah.
Oh, interesting.
He's been great. I mean,
yeah.
In his minimal appearance, he's actually hitting the ball now.
If he can sustain adequate hitting, he's going to be a problem because he's great on defense. He's speedy. The Diamondbacks like him. He's a great clubhouse guy.
Well, and then what do you do? McCarthy at that point, because that's what McCarthy does for you: good defense and speed.
Yeah, it's exactly. They're kind of like you can only have one or the other. Okay, let me try to think of one more.
So there's one.
Let's see if I can get one more name.
I'll tell you what, you'll never get it. I really don't think you'll get it. There's a player on the Mets who has it.
Liriano hasn't been doing good. So it's not him.
Lindor.
I always do that. Not Francisco Liriano.
The retired pitcher?
Yeah,
is he retired?
He is, yeah. From the Twins. No, Lindor. It's not Lindor.
It's not Lindor. I don't know. If you gave me tries, it's Jesse Winker.
Oh, I would have never got that.
Right? All right. So the real reason. So Julio Rodriguez is another one.
I should have got that.
There is a Detroit Tiger that has 2 triples, and he is on our list to talk about today, which is why I specifically brought this question up.
Well, now I know because I've seen the list.
Right. But go ahead and say it.
Zach McKinstry.
Zach McKinstry. He's been fantastic this year as well, hitting 298, walked 7 times, struck out 11 in his 47 at bats, 2 triples and a home run on the year. He's been so much better than advertised, which is fantastic if you are rostering in fantasy, because I mean, he plays second, third, short, and outfield, I believe, at least on Fantrax.
Yeah. He needs a sweet nickname like Jackknife or like, utilities, super utility man. I don't know, something. Because
super utility man. What a sweet nickname.
Isn't that an awesome nickname? One of the Avengers. Super utility man. But no, he literally plays everywhere.
He does.
He does. It's crazy.
I'm trying to see if he has a nickname listed on let's see, on Baseball Reference, his listed nickname is Z-Mac.
Well, that's not that original either. Okay. Listen to this, Trevor. Last year, shortstop, third base, outfield, second base, DH. This year, outfield, third base, second base, shortstop, left field. Hasn't DH'd yet, but could. I mean, it's almost worth picking him up just for the position eligibility if you have people with days off or an injury or something, because you could
Especially if
literally
you
put him
ride the hot
anywhere.
streak. Especially if you
Yeah,
ride the hot streak. He's
yeah,
hitting well. It's not an empty spot right now.
true, exactly. Yeah, plus he's doing good. So, yeah, that's a good call.
Mhm.
I would pick him up. But the Tigers are doing great, by the way. We haven't even talked about that.
Yeah, they are, and just imagine when they don't have to play Ryan Kreidler all the time.
Yeah, I
He's
I
getting a lot of
rostered him.
regular starts in center field. He's a shortstop outfield eligible now, which isn't bad, but I have him in fantasy. I'm like, it's good to have another shortstop, but also like he's not really doing much.
I picked him up too because I needed an outfielder, and it hasn't been going great.
Well, eventually Parker Meadows, eventually Wenzel Perez, eventually Matt Vierling. Someone's going to come back, and that's going to be bad news for Griedler. But somebody's going to come back soon,
Yeah.
and that'll be good. I mean, they have Justin Henry Malloy's actually been pretty good since he got called back up too. The problem is, does he do anything other than DH? He will have outfield eligibility this year, but he's been great. He has good zone control, and that he's shown that. But I just don't know what that looks like in years beyond because he doesn't really have a defensive home at this point.
I wondered what you thought about him when he got called up.
Mhm. I've
Probably
always
not someone you have to add immediately, but
No, but I've always liked him just because of the way he can control the zone. It's just a matter of where's he going to play defensively because he's not really an outfielder. He was a third baseman. He's not really a third baseman. He was taking reps at first, but now Torque is hitting. So what are you going to do there? It's just it's a good
yeah,
problem to have for the Tigers, but there's just no place to put his bat other than DH.
and that hurts. It's hard to have a DH on just a DH in your fantasy lineup, especially if you have if you have a shorter bench, no utility spots. It's hard to justify carrying a DH unless it's Brent Rooker, Shohei Ohtani, someone like that. I believe we may have lost Trevor again here, but
I
I'm
heard
going
you
to
say
keep
Brent
talking.
Rooker, and I heard you say Brent Rooker. And let me just say, he's been getting outfield starts. He should have outfield eligibility soon because
Oh,
they need to
oh,
find a
good.
place for Kurtz. They need to
Yes.
find a
Oh,
place for
that's
Kurtz.
we did. Yes, we have talked about this. Trying to get
Mhm.
Kurtz in. I was just saying it's hard to justify having a DH in your lineup, especially if
It
you don't
is.
have utility spots or not many spots or short bench, unless you
Right.
have a Brent Rooker or someone like that.
Or a Shohei hitter or whatever the
Or
case is. Right.
yes,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. But again, with Malloy, it's where's he going to fit in? Because you got to play Torque now because he's on fire. We are going to take another quick timeout right now on Coffee Talk. When we come back, we have a extended defend yourself section because we are going to have several trades to talk about and one offer to talk about. So we can talk Nate into making bad trades. Maybe we'll see what happens. Either way, we'll be right back with episode 44 of Coffee Talk. And welcome back to Coffee Talk on the Pitcherless Podcast Network. My name is Trevor Huth. Nate Kosher joins me, and it is time for Defend Yourself. Nate and I both have traded with trades involving the same two players where we got the player and traded the same players. Basically, I did it. I told Nate about it, and he's like, "Oh, I'll do it." I think I don't have proof
it,
of that, but that's
it
kind of
was
how it went.
kind of. I wouldn't have thought of it if not for you, Trevor. So I did kind of copy you.
So the first trade that I made, we'll go in sequential order because I think it went boom, 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 boom. So the
Yeah.
first trade I made was this was in a keeper league, so prospects in play. I traded Cooper Pratt, which I hate doing. I love Cooper
Ooh.
Pratt. Big fan. Rough. But I traded Cooper Pratt and I got Matt Brash, who should be coming back soon. And that was my thought process as I'm trading not help off of my lineup, a competitive lineup to get help, within a month, I believe, if not a month and a half. And then I also got Grant Taylor, who, I mean, I love Grant Taylor, so that was kind of a no-brainer in my mind. Even though I hate giving up Pratt, I love getting Grant Taylor, and I like getting Matt Brash.
So you were in a win now, compete mode.
Yeah, but also planning for the season, not just like trying to trade for somebody who can help me win now. I think Brash will have a good role in a saves holds league. once he does come back. And I think there's good potential there. And so I feel like I kind of bought low on him was my thought. And then my team doesn't change. My MLB team doesn't change. I'm still competing, but then I'll get reinforcements in about a month. And I also got a pitching prospect that I adore.
Yeah, giving up Pratt is tough. I will agree. But after you told me about the Brash trade, I was like, oh, I kind of forgot about Matt Brash.
Mm-hmm.
You know, uh, he, 2 seasons ago, he did have some saves, has some nasty stuff. I think
Yeah.
he'll work his way into the save situation, like you said. If not, he'll be a main setup guy with a lot of holds.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
It's tough to dethrone Munoz. I get that, but
right. Yeah. Maybe he could get a little bit of that work. And yeah, he had fallen off the map for me. So I thought it was obviously a good trade because I went to get Matt Brash. We'll see what Pratt does, but if you need reliever help, Brash will give you that. Hopefully, he doesn't have any setbacks or problems, and he's back to normal. I will go into my Matt Brash trade here. So I had looking for Matt Brash. This is in a large league prospects, and I'm going over my Matt Brash trade. What I did.
yeah.
So
Who'd you get? What
I
happened?
I traded away Weblin Francisca and a round 3 2028 draft pick. So round 3 is pretty high. It's a large. This is the large 30 teamer. But
Mm-hmm.
my relievers are garbage. Like barely been getting holds. Once you moved Brash, I went and looked in my league. The owner had him on the trading block, and I thought, okay, if I offer maybe a decent prospect and I wasn't going to go a first or second round pick, but I thought, oh, maybe it's 3, 4, 5, something like that. So I decided to pull the trigger, accepted right away. I now have Matt Brash. Hopefully, I can at least be getting some holds. So I had the similar situation. My team was very reliever poor. So that's why I wanted to make that trade.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts on
Yeah,
Web?
besides good. I love this a lot. Um, I don't know. I'm a fan. So he's like switch hitter. I get him now confused. Francisco is a really good hit, has really good skills. I personally prefer to now be literal one to do that, but I do like him. I think he's good. If you're winning, trade. I mean, you can now. So, you don't want to undersell your product by any means, but you definitely need to make moves that help you.
Yes, I agree. Trevor, I wonder if we should stop our cameras even though we're live streaming. No one is actually viewing it, I see. See if we can ride it out the rest of the way. I keep losing you.
Yeah, this internet, I don't know what's happening. It's hopefully this will be fixed by next week. But the next player that we both had a trade involving was Bobby Miller, and we both traded him away. There was news that Bobby Miller was going to potentially get a start this upcoming week, and I used that to try and get rid of him because I didn't want to keep playing the game. A lot of talent in Bobby Miller. That's not have a ton of talent and a ton of potential and the ability to help your fantasy team. But I just was done with it. I wanted to see if I could get some talent out of it instead of get nothing and just hold until he potentially deteriorates, because he had more walks than strikeouts, but he was pitching pretty well still. So it's kind of a, what do you do? So I wound up trading him for a pair of relievers, more relievers. I got Brian King from Houston, and I got Tony Santillan from Cincinnati, both of whom have pretty decent and solidified roles in the back ends of their bullpen. I know the Reds with Alexis Diaz coming back is a little bit more up in the air, but both have been good this year. Both have definite hold positions in their bullpens. So I feel pretty good about trading potentially a good starter. I'm not going to lie. Like, I could lose this trade because Bobby Miller has a ton of talent,
Yeah.
but it's just, is it going to play out quickly enough to matter for me? And also, I could use the guys who are getting saves and holds. It really bolstered my bullpen to make that move.
So this one, likewise, I traded for Bobby Miller last offseason. And now I'm getting a lot less back for him. So maybe this is already a bad trade. But I went back to the original owner. He had been asking me, "Hey, do you want to move Miller?" So he wanted him back. I kind of wanted to see what he did with the start, but if it went poorly, yeah, then maybe I'm stuck with him. So this one I really copied you on, Trevor. I got Tony Santillan and a 6th rounder for Bobby Miller in my large dynasty league. So he has Santillan has 1 save so far, but definitely in the mix. Good numbers.
Mhm.
I'm hoping the holds are there. But I thought, oh, that seems reasonable. I did originally try to throw in Hunter Goodman from the Rockies, who is someone with outfield and catcher availability. He took over the catcher spot. That's another name I would say if you need a catcher to look at him
Hunter
with the
Goodman.
Rockies. But he didn't want to throw in Goodman, so I had to pull him out of the trade. But yeah, I mean that's a tricky one because Miller could still be good. He already reached a very high fantasy peak, which none of these other people we've been talking about have reached. But I feel like you have to get something for him, and there may be a chance you get nothing for him.
Yeah,
You know?
and the question is, do you want to sit and wait for the potential to come back, which it absolutely could, or are you willing to accept the fact that this is a trade you probably lose to help you win now? For prospects, I don't think that's a good trade if you're in a keeper dynasty type league. I think if you're trading Bobby Miller, you're doing it for pieces right now.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. And I needed a reliever,
Hmm.
so at
Yeah.
least
All
we
right.
got
So tell
something
us about the
for him.
Spencer Strider offer. Tell me about the
Yeah.
Strider.
Let me pull this up here. Give me just a second. This is a large. This would be a large deal.
It
I
better
have
be large. It better have a lot of
right.
players in it,
Yes, I haven't
or really
decided.
high quality players in it.
Okay, so here we go. We have for prospects Quinn Matthews, who just went on the 7-day injured list. Some questions about him. His velocity is way down, but uh, Chase Dollinger from the Rockies. We talked about. Did we talk about him? No, we didn't
Delander,
because I was gone.
yeah,
Delander.
probably
Did
not,
we
but
talk about him?
we didn't, but he's a Rockies pitcher, so
He's a Rockies pitcher, right? Um, Ryan Sloan with the Mariners, potential
really good
stud,
under the
many
radar FIPD guy in those type of drafts.
many years away. Um, Jeffrey Springs with the A's, the X-ray quality arm, and then Kodai Senga from the Mets, who has looked good. That's a high upside potential there. I think it's a fair package. Matthews' injury, if he didn't have any questions around him, it would be reasonable. Right now, I'm also last in my league, so I also received that same offer, but Blake Snell was involved and Senga was not involved.
So
So
for me,
those are the offers for Strider. I have Strider currently.
you're missing the player who's going to impact your lineup like Strider does. Those are very good players. Chase Delander might be that kind of arm, but he's a Colorado pitcher, so he's not going to be that kind of arm.
Right.
Quinn Matthews is a very solid arm, but you're missing that frontline guy. You're missing that guy who's going to be a fantasy stud, or who you believe, at least I believe, is going to be that fantasy stud like Spencer Strider is. And so if you're in last place, I don't disagree with seeing what you can get for Strider. But I think that you need to get something that you believe, someone, at least one player that you believe is going to be that kind of lineup changer, whether that be hitting or pitching,
Right.
rather than just a bunch of really good pitchers.
Yeah. That's very fair because I saw these offers. I'm like, they're not terrible,
It's
but
not a bad offer. It is not a bad offer.
no,
That's not what
it's
I'm
not a
saying.
no. I hear you 100% because I mean Strider was the number one pitcher in fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
Two seasons ago, and it would almost take, yeah, like an offensive hitter at that same level
Right. Or a pitcher, or if you have
and
a pitching prospect who you think
someone else who I
could
really
get
like.
there.
Yeah.
Right. So again, it's not a bad offer, but I just think you're missing that one piece that you think is going to be that good.